We're listening to the questionnaire.
Say that again.
You're listening to the questionnaires.
I've just started.
Right here, for your ears, for your eyes.
The questionnaire.
Get your comic on.
Poke it out, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.
Is this the questionnaire, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it is. And I just threw that paper so hard, it like fell off my bed, landed on the floor. My apologies. That's a really dope book, though, man. It really is. I've been loving Paper Girls, but I am the Unknown Factor, a.k.a. that Wade Wilson in hip-hop, and this, like I just said a minute ago, it's the questionnaire. Yeah? I hope you've been enjoying season 2. It really, I cannot tell, like, the guests that we've had on and that have come on here and spoke with us at length about so many things, from life to work to art. It's sincerely, it's been phenomenal, and it's been a joy. And we might have a little something massive coming up here in like a month or two with a couple people. We're going to get into that at a later point in time. What we're going to get into right now is Canada. Because, man, I can't get out of Canada. I swear I'm about to email some colleges up in Canada because, like, maybe if they see how many Canadians I work with, they'll be like, oh, he's doing all that, and look at all these Canadians, yeah, with that. Scott Wojcik, yeah, he keeps bringing Canadians on the show, which, I mean, no, nothing against that.
I live up here, man. I meet these guys, and I bring them on the show.
I mean, hey, I mean, Scott, you've not pulled a stinker yet. I'm really trying to think. I think every episode that I would say, because look, ladies and gentlemen, all you out there, man, there's a couple quests that aren't for anyone's eyes, because I did it, and I was like, hey, nope, that happens. Sometimes you scratch an episode when you do this mini. What you gonna do? You weren't responsible for booking any of those yet. Yet, Scott.
No.
We'll see if you can stick to the streak, but man, you're doing pretty good. I can't lie. We've got Alan Henry over here playing on D&D from when you initially booked him. From that, you booked so many people, man. I ain't even going through the list. It's all there. Y'all go a little bit back. But today, we're getting into awards, man. And hey, Scott, what do you think of starting like a little award thing over here at the questionnaire we do on a different note?
I think that would be a good time. I think it'd be fun.
I think we might. That's a discussion for the co-host. We ain't getting into that anymore, right? But we're gonna get into all kind of other awards with a gentleman that's done all kinds of it, man. We might rate a little. We like to get a little, what are you gonna say over here at the questionnaire? What are you gonna do with that? Ramón Pérez in the house. How you doing, man?
That's the most unique intro I've ever had in my life. That's amazing. I'm glad to be here, man.
Thank you. I pride myself in giving creators intros that I think they're deserving of and probably don't ever get,
Oh, I love it. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Excited to be here, man. This is gonna be a fun time.
Hey, we try. But I know Scott, man. I sometimes I got time, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm trying to make more time for the show, but sometimes I got to make sure things will get done. So sometimes I'm not able to look at one thing or one other thing I didn't. And I know Scott got a chance to look at the questionnaire way more than I did. And I know right off the bat he said he wanted to get into something. And I don't remember what question he said you wanted to get into, but I will say you said stone. You said stone. Rock, paper, scissors, stone. Look,
that is a deep cut. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wait, what's the deep cut there? Because I apparently missed it.
I have no idea. I'm just like, just making shit up as I go along. Oh, sorry, can I swear off this?
I mean, I say we're trying not to, but I swear the fact with the way the creators
you
are,
fit right in.
The way the creators are that I bring on, I'm to the point where I'm like, well,
Stone,
whatever.
Paper, it is what it is.
But okay, all I know is you might have won, but Damian Hill a long time ago said Rick, and
a little Rick and rock and
right.
Roll and
what do you beat? Because even you could throw out Spock. I'm sorry, I don't think Spock beats Rick.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, mainly because Rick's just gonna kill him when he's annoyed by him. So.
All good.
I was gonna try and do a little diagram and like plot out and like creators and like here's a bunch of rock paper scissors and sort of make it funny, and then I'm like, somebody selected The Rock and then you've got Rick, and I'm like, everyone already knows who the winner. Like it would probably get down to those two, and then The Rock just dies.
It just sounds like a whole lot of work, really, at the end of the day.
Hey, I know how much work this show is. Ramon, don't remind me, right? But I do it because I love the conversations, man. But with that, like I said, I know Scott had what was the question, Scott? Now that I've just
It was the movie that stunk.
Oh, what did I put for that?
You said The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, the controversial.
No. I don't think it's controversial at all.
It's been answered before.
It's
Ramon,
divisive or divisive.
It really is, and that was kind of why I wanted to jump on it, because I walked out of that theater.
I almost walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second
the Yo Mama joke.
When he took his lightsaber and threw it over his shoulder, and I was like, oh, so Luke is I can't say the word because we're PG. So I'm like, okay, so we just lost Han in the first one, and you're making Luke a wimp?
Like a curmudgeonly wimp kind of thing. Yeah. For me, it was like as soon as the opening sequence with Poe Dameron and the whole like your mom was on the phone or something with I can't remember the character's name. The what do we call it? They're not the Empire, but they're the New Order. The New Order leader.
Yeah.
And whatever. And I was just like, really? This is like the original Star Wars had jokes, awesome jokes, but this one just felt like so out of tune. And then, Luke and everything else is going on, and the tickling with the feather. I was just like, what is going on? And then, like, everybody who loved it was like, no, they're deconstructing it. They're subverting your expectations. I'm like, no, it's just bad. It's just like, characters aren't in tune with themselves. Yeah, I really wanted to walk out of that one, but I kind of, like, I actually like the director's work. Like, I like his other stuff. Like,
Brick, Ryan's done great stuff.
Yeah. Brick is a great movie. The first Knives Out, I think, is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one I was like, it just kind of killed that movie. Like, and I actually didn't mind The Force Awakens. Like, I thought it was a fun ride.
Yeah.
I think the casting and the characters are great. And then like in the second movie, all the characters kind of become jokes or just kind of these weird background characters, strange story arcs. And I'm like, I don't know, it just killed it for me. And
I really felt that they missed the opportunity to use some of the characters to better Star Wars.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh. Like, I felt that Snook should have been Plagueis. He should have been plain and straight. Straightforward. He should have. I actually agreed to have Rey being a Palpatine. I thought it worked. But
I didn't mind that. Yeah, I thought it was a reach, but like I feel like she could just be anybody. It doesn't have to be related or anything like that. Like I thought Daisy Ridley was a great actress. I think she did a great job. Had fun presence. I didn't even mind some of the Mary Sue aspects of The Force Awakens. I could kind of let some of it go just to engage in the fun ride. Like, things that she did in mirror. She tapped into the Force within seconds, whereas it took Luke 3 movies to do anything. You know what I mean? And those 3 movies took 3 years apart, and these ones were back to back chronologically. So you're like, okay, so in 60 hours, she's tapped into this, Force that she didn't believe in at the beginning of the movie. So it just became like, I was just like, this is bad writing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I felt,
I actually wish that they had, I wish that they had actually taken her character to actually turn, right?
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Yeah.
And because of course you read the title of the third movie, right? And Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. She's not a Skywalker.
Yeah.
Right? The person that should have came out on top, it should have been Ben.
Or Ben or Luke, right? Or something. I don't know.
And I personally I've actually written my own synopsis for.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I hated it so much. Like I walked out and I said I would never go to another Star Wars movie. And then they played the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, and I'm like, oh, maybe they'll bring it back.
That one was a hot mess in another way.
It was, but I think it was a hot mess because of one. I think there was stipulations that JJ could only do certain things, and of course, Carrie passing away, right? Yeah. So it kind of it forced him to do it certain ways, and
I think also, like I think he was Snook was actually supposed to rise and become something bigger potentially, you know, and then like when the second director killed him off, it's like, well, okay, we got to do something now. We got to one up the situation. What's the easiest one up? Well, the Emperor kind of thing, you know. And bringing it back's not the worst. He came back in Dark Empire in the Dark Horse series way back in the day, but that was well written. It took some thought, you know, did something. This was just like, and the Emperor's back, and this is that, and he's gonna, all these ships come out of the dirt and the water, and you're like, what is going on here? Were these people living in these ships underground? Like, what's
well, with that, Ramon, I'm curious to your thoughts, man, because obviously, when you're dealing as a creative with properties like that, you know, the second you get to the level where it's something that is very much a pop culture, a piece of pop culture, especially something with a lineage like Star Wars or a Spider-Man or a Superman or anything like that.
Yeah.
You obviously are going to have people over your head going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you think that the people that are over their head at this point with a lot of those materials are perhaps just too far away from them and don't know what would be good for them, and with that they push the creatives in the narrative, as well as, you know, you have to fit within time frames and other things. I mean, there's a lot of buttons and check marks, and I wouldn't want to get into having to deal with a Star Wars film unless I'm the person that shows up, says a line, and then gets to leave. Because other than that, I don't know that I'd want to frankly deal with it. And I run.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you because, like, you know, love it or hate it, when George Lucas, when it was his thing, it was his vision. You know, even if he contradicted himself, he retconned stuff. At the end of the day, as a creator, I know that's going to happen because as you're writing these things develop over time, and you go back to something, you know, 15, 30 years later, whatever it is, you might have to retcon some ideas that you know established in the first ones. And, you know, I'd rather put up with midichlorians, Jar Jar Binks with the prequel trilogy, but at least it's a cohesive vision, and it's the author's, you know, his message, the character's journey, all of that. It's a unified front. And like, having gone back and watched those films, not only for fun, but for work as well, like, yeah, they're not as, I think, obviously good as the original trilogy, but I think, you know, they do stand alone, far stronger than the current offering. And they're much more cohesive from beginning to end, you know what I mean? I think he could have.
Ramon, they have the best lightsaber fight that has happened.
100%.
Like ain't nobody touched that Darth Maul lightsaber fight. I've never seen. That is epic. That is sheer. Like I went back and watched just that scene, just to watch Ray Park and just like be like, that's amazing.
Oh yeah, no, it's some killer visuals, great design work. He went to different planets. He didn't keep going back to the well with like the same like Tatooine or whatever it was. And I think, you know, the one big flaw with the prequels is I think by that point he was so big, his producer was more of a yes man to him rather than someone who actually pushed or challenged. Like Rick McCallum, actually, rather than pushing or challenging him in the early days, because you know when he did the original, he was answering to Fox and the crew there and his producer, and then when he did the sequels, they were self-funded, so they were like independent films essentially.
Yeah.
Where he's having to tighten his belt. He's got budgets. He's got expenses. If things flop, he's just dead in the water. So I mean, there was a lot more at stake. I think with the new ones, he no matter how bad they were, he was gonna make a mint regardless, right? So the fact that we got something at all, it was him probably just more interested in playing with the technology and pushing that stuff. He's always been like that, right? From documentaries I've seen and books I've read, and which is cool. Like, you know, as a creator, you want to play in the medium and evolve the medium you're playing in. And but yeah, I think the Disney offerings so far have been a hot mess in my opinion. They're not unified. There's no vision, or the vision is manipulative and skewed, and maybe Kathleen Kennedy has what she feels has to be Star Wars, and I think in a weird way, I think Disney or Kathleen or Lucasfilm, wherever it is, they're actually dividing their audience, almost like in a weird purposeful way. I have no idea why. Like, I've seen things where like, oh, Star Wars was never inclusive. I'm like, what? Like, everybody I knew loved Star Wars, no matter what color, what gender, you didn't care. It was like universe, you could go play it. But now it's suddenly like not this enough or not that enough. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, as a kid, I was like, buddies were taking on characters, were playing roles, and so on and so forth. Like, so I don't know. It's just become interesting to the point where I never thought I would never be. The last offering, the Acolyte, like I just had it kind of killed. I just had no interest in watching it, And
yeah, same here.
A good friend produced it, and I like his other work. I was like, it's the love is gone from this franchise for me. The original stuff, love it. The original, Bantam books that came out, the comics that came out, love all that stuff. I think I've just kind of been like, you know what? It's not my playground anymore. Yeah. I'm just going to enjoy what it was, and I'm not going to bitch or complain, because it's gone off on its own route, and the original creator is no longer involved. So why even stress about it? You know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of funny that you say that like that. Like, look, I typically when you're very much ingrained in nerd culture, people tend to be a Star Trek or a Star Wars. You pick a side. I didn't. I appreciate them both. And when I look at them both as pieces of science fiction, the main thing I think is could we stop heading towards Star Wars and try and head towards Star Trek as a species? That's my main thought I get for those. Like, why are you guys watching these films and looking and going, let's do this, dude? The Force don't exist. All right, let's be clear. Like you might be able to get a lightsaber, but like if you go and get one and try and play with it, you're gonna cut a limb off or something, or you're gonna behead yourself or cut yourself in half. Like, it ain't gonna be the fun time you're thinking because you're not Force sensitive. Let's head towards Star Trek. I want a replicator. I'm just saying, right? But in what you said as far as the lost love, like I grew up reading Marvel. I always loved Marvel. I've been an adamant Marvel fan my whole life. I don't know if it's obvious. But there was a time span where I wasn't reading comics. And I mean, I still went to the local library and reading it, but I wasn't reading them like I had previously, where I had a pull list. I've gotten back to where I have a pull list, but I find myself looking at Marvel in a lot of ways and being like I tried to jump in reading the X-Men, which was one of the biggest. Like, I used to read X-Force, X-Factor, like Age of Apocalypse is one of my favorite stories.
Same, yeah.
Man, I tried to read an X-Force book from the Krakoa era, or the Krakoa era.
Okay, yeah.
And
was that
I got it's the Krakoa era. Yeah. I grabbed one graphic novel because I had Deadpool and Omega Red. Love those characters. I'm like, ooh, this will be dope. I read it and I was like, ooh, this is way too much, and I don't want to read the 80,000 other books I even have to do to read this. And let's just put that on the bookshelf, and it's gonna stand by itself. Now let me go get the next copy of Something Is Killing the Children. I need the next volume of that. And it very much it did. It went to the back burner real quick, and I went to other things. So I can relate to that, man. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that generationally. Look, let's be real honest, right? We're all particular, skinned complexion within this room, right? And if you look through the entertainment industry, especially the farther you go back, it's more and more dominated by people of that same skin complexion, right? Which makes it to where the medium reflects people more of that skin complexion. Now, it's of the time, it was of the time, whatever. I think we as a society have had a problem in looking back and going, That was blah 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 blah. Why don't y'all go pick apart Blazing Saddles and leave me alone, all right? Because you'll be at it for 10 years and everybody can just live while you all go nitpick Blazing Saddles, all right? As opposed to picking any and everything. Because come on, dude, it would take them like a decade to get through everything in that film, right? And I'd love to see them do it. It'd be hilarious because Mel Brooks would be sitting there going, yeah? What? You know? Because, Mel Brooks ain't dead, is he? Is Mel Brooks dead? Mel Brooks didn't die.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
I know he put History of the World out Part 2 recently, which if you guys ain't seen the intro, it's freaking hilarious. He very much took advantage of that use of CGI and on himself. Which is funny.
I'm curious then.
No, dude, it's worth just watching the very intro to the first episode just for Mel Brooks' bit right there.
Okay.
But what do you think that's done as far as the fact of we're looking back on art that's been created so hard as opposed to like focusing more on just creating a new art? I don't understand why people want to look so hard at the past and try to correct it. You can't correct the past.
Well,
it already
happened. It's like everything that's produced is a product of its time or era.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like I'm going back right now and I'm reading the old Terry and the Pirates. By today's standards, it's super racist, super, a whole ton of shit sexist probably. But it's like it was created in a different era. And I'm not going to apply today's values and use it to deconstruct the work. I'm going to enjoy the work for what it was, what the creator was trying to do, and what he brought to it in reference to whether it was gender or race or whatever it might be, right? Like, it's like for example, like I was on a panel a few years ago and we were chatting and I brought up X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. So I was a big fan of that growing up. And I'm, you're white male, but I was actually an immigrant family that came in, and I'm a first-gen Canadian. So the thing I latched onto with the X-Men was the multicultural aspect. You had a German Nightcrawler, you had a Russian, you had a Canadian in there, you had a Native American. And this was something that I latched onto because I could kind of understand it. Like I was coming from, I'm Spanish and Polish. I had friends who were Canadian. I had friends who were South American. I had friends who were from various parts of Europe. Where I grew up, it was there was a suburb, so it wasn't a city center, so it wasn't as diverse as it is today, where people have moved there who are probably from like India or Africa and other continents. That back when I was there, we were the new wave of immigrant, or my parents were, the Spaniards, the Portuguese, all these people, right? And then you have the next wave of immigration that comes from a different part of the country. But for me, that X-Men comic was like a doorway into saying, hey, I could fit in. I'm part of this tapestry of people. And then like I got slammed because at the panel, because they were like, well, that was written by a white dude, Chris Claremont. I'm like, yeah, I don't care who it was written by. He still created characters that I could, live and relate to. And then that opened the door for me as a creator to say, hey, I can do this. And then also, showed me that, hey, we can all get along from no matter where we're coming from kind of thing, right? But I think people now are like, well, it has to be a diverse creator to create a diverse cast and all this stuff. And I'm like,
Ramon. All right, real quick, I want to say we just had David Lujan on, who's down there in Texas, and we got into a very specific thing because he's down in Texas, and he says when he's doing a piece, they're very specific about why are you not putting your heritage or something about Texas. It's a thing down in Texas as far as with creators. That's what I found out recently, right? You're up there in Canada. Before I get real serious and like try and make a bunch of people mad, who's your favorite Canadian superhero?
Well, I mean, I usually default to if it's a Marvel thing, it's like Wolverine, and if it's as me as a kid, it would be like someone like Captain Canuck, which was not the best comic, but he had the Canadian flag on him, and it is what it is.
All I know, real quick, All right, before we get all serious, man. I actually, funnily enough, picked up a couple of
Nice.
Captain Canucks recently. You know,
Nice.
just a
My
couple.
buddy
Yeah.
Cameron did that cover.
Wait, which one?
The that one, yeah, right there, yeah. He helped design that costume and everything.
Nice. Yeah. See,
Yeah, good job, yeah.
Randomly at a comedy show, the place where I used to go. Now, but so I was curious of the answer, man. But look, the correct answer is Deadpool. All right.
What's the only Canadian, or was he eventually made Canadian?
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Now, let's get really deep. Why not? Right? Yeah. So we're discussing the fact as far as people creating different cultures and all of this, and looking at things through the time they were created, not through the lens of today. Like, you have to, because I think that is very clear. You technically you should look at it through both lenses, but don't judge it by the lens that you
of
judge
course,
it by
like,
today.
you have the
You know what I mean?
knowledge
But,
base of
yeah,
today.
no, and I know you agree. But with that being said, do you think the reason that people are so quick to judge these pieces of creation is because they don't read enough?
I mean, I have no idea on that. Like, I would hope people are reading, and picking things up. Like, I have no idea what. Like, I have no kids. I have nieces and nephews that are on TikTok all day.
Okay, then let's cut to that one then. Do you think it's the quick reaction that you get from the internet, like on TikTok, to anything that comes out nowadays, that makes it to where people go back and look at these old pieces of film, art, comic, whatever, and then they put a quick reaction out without contemplating the fact that, hey, Dingle, that was from 40 years ago. You realize that, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, we're into a lot of political stuff here, but, like, I think at the end of the day, there is, the reactionary thing. People tend to jump onto things without actually knowing the source material or the history behind it sometimes, or they'll apply their own, they'll skew it to their advantage, and I think that's a dangerous part where we're living now. People don't tend to actually speak with their own voice. They tend to, live in echo chambers, basically. So you're kind of, and that's one of the bad side effects of the internet, I think, is where you can easily find your clan that will constantly say, you're right, this is this, and if you don't think this way, you're not in our group, and if you want to be in our group, this is our ideology, or this is our thing. I feel like the discussion these days, there's less gray and it's only black and white. Like, there's nuance to life. Not everything is as simple as black or white, and I feel like, one of my favorite stories I tell is years ago. This is pre-pandemic. I was at a patio cafe and just sitting there with my girlfriend at the time, and aside from us, there was these two other gentlemen at the end of the bar, drinking pints, arguing their faces off. One guy was a conservative, one guy was a liberal, and they were just butting heads on politics, yelling. Waitress would come around. She's like, "Are you gentlemen okay? Would you?" Like, "Oh yeah, another round. We're just chatting." And you tell they're good friends, but they obviously don't agree on the political spectrum. And they can chat it out. They can fight it out. They can have a discussion, and they're not going to hate each other because they don't agree on this one simple thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like these days it's like, if I say, this is my POV. You either agree with it or you don't. We can't be friends at the end of the day. And I feel like I encounter that quite a bit these days.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
I mean, look, there's a few things that if that's your POV, we can't be friends. But
sure, obviously there are extremes.
But just to be clear, those few things that if you're cool with being friends with that person, I don't even want to be friends with you. Those are how extreme those things are in that case. You know what I mean?
Of course.
They're really extreme, like, go away.
I'm generalizing, obviously.
But no, I totally see your point, Ramon. You do, because it's kind of frightening. And I think it's weird because I think in that echo chamber happening, there becomes an existence of those people that should be excluded in every group, even getting to find a group, which is horrifying. Yeah. I think what people Look, man, I don't know where the phrase got lost, but variety is the spice of life. You know?
Yeah, varying points of view make, not only increase your knowledge base and, maybe open your eyes up to different perspectives as well, right? Like,
Oh, I can't. Yeah, just from conversation. Look,
yeah,
sorry, this show's been running a little over 2 years now. We're probably getting close to 200 episodes. I'm not.
nice.
I'd have to do math. I think it's well.
Don't hurt yourself.
I may, yeah, like I don't know. Well, maybe like 150. I don't know. I don't count this. I just put them out, man. You know what I mean? Like, even though I could tell you what episode we're on for this season because I have to label it properly for the thing that I uploaded.
Sure.
And if it wasn't, and like I didn't even label it, but whatever. I hate labels, man. Right? That's the problem. We society have too many. But totally lost my point. Rambling on about crap. Don't you hate when that happens, man? But like you said, we are getting a little political over here. And before I get raided, right? Let's talk raid.
Let's talk raid. Sure. I mean, it's right. I'm in the space right now. I got the T-shirt on. Yeah, Raid was a studio that began 22 years ago. What year are we in now? We're in 2004. So yeah, 22 years ago. By Chip Zdarsky, Cameron Stewart, and a couple of fellows, K. McLeod and Ben Shannon. And it was just four guys looking to share a space. And now we've evolved. We're in a new location now. We have a 5,000 square foot studio with creators from all over, not only the comics industry, but film, television, graphic designers, animators, a really cool space with just a lot of creative energy going on. And over the pandemic, we also moved into publishing, where we started doing our own imprint and publishing graphic novels, original series, anthologies, novels. We're going to be moving into art books and different things. And then also, we also have a creative services arm. So we do like creative work for not only people looking to develop IPs, like whether it's through comic books, but branding for companies and stuff like that. So it's really become a cool space to be a part of. So yeah, super proud of it. I've been now part of it for 17 years. I came in, I was one of the first replacements. And we have young kids coming in, new kids coming in all the time. We have like hot desks for young artists who want to just work in a different environment. The pandemic was an interesting time because everybody's like work from home, but it's actually funny. The past year and a half, 2 years, we've had a slew of people looking to get back out of the house and work in a space with a different space outside of their own four walls and engage with different individuals and have conversation, make friends, talk ideas, and collaborate and talk shop. So it's
and that is a great. Yeah, that's a great collection that you started Raid with, man. I'm curious as to what the initial conversation to starting Raid was, but I feel like I could find that somewhere from probably all of you. So I'm not asking that question. For everybody out there, if you want to go check it out, there's a link in the description to Raid as well as to Ramon's site, but it apparently got malware attacked.
Yeah, it's just it's like 2 years ago. I still got to rebuild it.
Well, fine. I won't put that link in the description.
I mean, you can put the link. It has links to all the other important stuff, whether it's Instagram or my newsletter or whatever it might be.
All right.
Yeah.
So that link is there, and you can click all the other links from. It's his fancy link tree. That's what it is.
It pretty much is. Yeah, exactly. I think there even might be a link to a link tree off of my website.
Shut up, are you serious? Oh my god.
This is the chaos side. Just let it be, man. Don't try to think about it too hard.
I get it. I live it. I understand, Ramon, on a level that I probably don't want to, but that's not here nor there. It's that whole thing of how many plates you got to spin. Sometimes one of them falls. Yeah, sometimes one of them falls, mainly because it wasn't important enough to go over and spin one more time because you had to spin this one. I totally get it, man. It's a discussion we've had on the shows about spinning plates. I love that analogy, actually. Now that it's been made, I'm going to use the crap out of it. But I do understand your point, too, as far as people wanting to get out into a studio, because I think there's a difference then with, okay, well, here, I worked on this, and giving it somebody to review, as opposed to working with someone where you can exchange ideas in the moment when you're working on something. And I think within that, it allows a different level of collaboration, as well as when you're writing stories, if you can get other people's experiences in it, I think it does make it very much a better story. So I think that's just a better way to do things. At what point are you guys thinking of stopping, man? It sounds like you're just expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding. You gonna start making movies next?
I'm delusional. I'll just keep going. Like we're going to be getting into Diamond in the new year, so we're going to be getting into comic shops with all our stuff. Right now, we've been working selling direct to consumer through like conventions and our own website. So it's been a crazy building year. We've been right now our website's being being rebuilt. Our old ones are still up, which kind of are fine for a placeholder, but we're having those kind of recreated and redefined. We hired on our first employees this year to help run the show. So there's a lot of growth and excitement. Really just trying to create an ecosystem for creators that they can come into, and whether it's collaborate, work, create, publish, provide them work with our creative services arm. So we're really just trying to create an environment where, should a creative want to come in, they have multiple avenues that they can succeed in, whether it be, I just want to freelance and work on stuff, or I have this great idea for a comic, let's work on it over here, let's create it, let's get it out to the world. So yeah, I'm just trying to bring down those barriers and make things as a little bit easier for creators, knowing what I had to go through just even to break into comics. It's nice to actually help people get that step in and get some notoriety, and hopefully, maybe help them accelerate their career in some capacity if possible too.
So, what would be your best piece of advice for someone trying to step in? And would it be different depending on what aspect of comic creation they've wanted to step into? Because obviously there's several.
Well, I mean, there's so many avenues. I remember I've done a bunch of panels over the years with C.B. Cebulski, and one of his favorite analogies, and he stole it from somebody else, I can't remember who, but he would often recite that breaking into comics is like breaking out of prison. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, but then it's actually about staying out of prison and not being caught and brought back in, which is like once you break into comics, that's one thing, but then it's actually staying in comics and making a career of it. That's actually even the harder part, because there is so much competition. There's so much talent. It's a brutal. People I don't think realize the hours that are put in to some of these comics that they pick up and that are 20 pages long and maybe takes them 20 minutes to read or whatever it is. But 20 to 30 days of work goes into that 20 minutes of just those quick page turns, and yeah, it's not an easy thing. I've done monthly series, and after doing my most recent, I think I'm like, you know what, I need a break from doing monthlies because this is too much. I prefer the graphic novel format where I can take my time, create something, put it out as one thing, and I'm not racing the gun every 4 to 5 weeks trying to make sure the work is good, the deadlines are met, the colorist has the pages in time so he can get them done, so the letterer can get them done, because it's a domino effect too, right? If the writer's a little bit late, like the last issue of The Flash I was working on, because it was a bit involved with the whole new the Absolute universe, a lot of fact checking had to go into the issue, and pre-approvals from hires up, making sure things match what they're doing in this new relaunch and whatever. And I guess our book, I didn't know this when I signed on, but the book out in the Flash issue was, I guess, one of the first crossovers between or introductions, I guess, of the Absolute universe, basically. So yeah, I was getting pages literally. I was getting fed pages like in 5-page chunks of that issue, right up to like the 3 days before the deadline it's going to print. I'm getting the last few, and then I'm like, while I'm doing a convention, so I'm at a convention, dipping back into the studio, doing pages, making sure the colorist gets them, making sure the letterer gets them. So it's, you know, and obviously that's not the norm. That was a unique situation, but it can happen because we also, you know, writers work on multiple books, you know. So one sometimes will get the shaft more than others, or, you know, whatever it might be. So it's a grind, but it's a lot of fun, but it's a grind. And so if I can enjoy doing something a little bit more, like a lot of my favorite projects over the years have been things I've been able to spend a little bit more time on as a whole, right? Whether it be like Tale of Sand or Jane, the graphic novel, some personal works, or limited series that I had a bit of lead time where I knew I'm like, okay, this is 4 or 5 issues. We're going to get ahead a little bit here. I can dive in, sink my teeth into it. But yeah, coming into a monthly, which is already ongoing, and then having to kind of like, it's like a race. You're just kind of joining the slipstream and having to keep it in time and kind of make your run of it before you pass the baton to the next guy, kind of thing, right? So
you just made me realize that there are specific characters in comic books that ostensibly are just permanent relay races and have been for 50 plus years. Like, if you think, and I mean, there have been little moments like, they killed Superman, we can put that one down for like a month. They killed Wolverine, we can put it down for a month. But other than like that month or two, those things have constantly just been passed around. That's a dirty, dirty relay bar, man. It's dirty, filthy. Somebody needs to stop and clean it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and you get some great stuff that way, but you also, you know, there's also a lot of filler, just like, you know, anything else, like whether it's syndicated TV or something, you're getting this filler stuff, right?
Yeah. With Raid, do you do any workshops for younger kids?
We don't. We have been asked about it, and we have considered it over time. It is something we are looking to develop, but probably not for a year or two, because it's just there's so many. Back to the plate spinning analogy, there's so many plates spinning right now. Just to add one more into the mix would be delusional on my part. So yes, definitely something we've considered, and when the time is right, I think definitely we would probably bring some kind of, whether it's for young kids or like workshops, or, you know, like long form workshops for people maybe looking to break into comics and doing, you know, like step-by-step kind of, you know, production, like, you learn to be a penciler, learn to be an inker, learn to be a storyteller, whatever it might be. Definitely in the thoughts, and we'll see what happens as the years go on. Right now, we're just trying to stabilize and make sure the current scenario works.
Y'all together. We can just get y'all together on the show and do it like with y'all. I'm just saying. No, but real quick, to what you're saying, as far as when you're talking to a new creator and dealing with that, I want to know, what importance do you think it is to someone coming to get to work on one of those big two? Because obviously, as someone that's worked with a lot of things, as well as you have creator-owned things, what do you think is a balance is necessary, and what would you advise someone that was going in? And which do you think? I'm asking a question I've asked before. I just want to know your opinion. Just say it.
Yeah, of course.
But do you think that being able to go to Marvel and DC, like, how important do you think that is really in the span of your career?
I don't think it's as important as it used to be. There are so many avenues now. Like when I was coming up, it was the late 90s, and you had your Marvel and DC, you had your Dark Horse, and a handful of other smaller companies. But if you kind of wanted to make it, you had to go the corporate route first, you know, work on those bigger books, make your name, and then take that name and then dip out and do your own thing, like a McFarlane or, you know, Mignola or whatever it might be, right? These days, there's, you know, like, I think Boom right now is, I think, the third largest company. Obviously, there's a, you know, a big space between number 2 and 3, but like the variety of books they produce is crazy compared to, like, you know, their one line of like creator-owned books is, you know, probably 100 times more dense and has a way more variety than the indie books that came out back in the 80s and 90s. Like, you know, those books maybe had larger numbers because it was a different time where, you know, TMNT was selling in the hundreds of thousands. But you can't deny the amount of variety and opportunity to create your own stories now, whether it's Boom, Skybound, Image, even like smaller companies like Fantagraphics, IDW, Dynamite. All these places are doing creator owned or like getting licenses and developing them. So it's a much more diverse and interesting playing field. And I think, you know, if the only reason I went to Marvel and DC was because I was kind of what you had to do, right? It wasn't like I want to do this and this is my end goal and I'm going to plant my flag when I get there. I always loved creating my own stuff, but there was no way to make a living off of it back in the 90s, early 2000s. Now you can have Patreons, Kickstarters, buy me a coffee, paywalls on your Substack or MailChimp. Like, there are so many avenues for micropayments and for fans and creators to connect and support each other.
And hey, for everybody out there, you can check out the Patreon for the questionnaire for just $2 a month. You get the before and after the shows, and you catch all kind of chicanery that
there you go.
Don't occur. So I totally feel you, man. It is a crazy level that has been allotted through the invention of social media and the internet, and then social media on top of that. But I think one of the interesting side effects of that a lot of people don't think about, but they see every day if they're on social media, is the fact that the creators, the people that are creating this book, now became the publicists. Or the publicists as far as pushing it. You know, if you think about it in the 90s, it wasn't the case. You know what I mean?
Oh no, you had media outlets, you had the companies, like, you know, nowadays if I work on a book, the company I work with will be like, okay, can you post this to your social media? And I'm like, that's not my job. You know, but it is these days. It's expected, right? Like, and there's so much out there. It's double time. Like, I think of the last time, I don't update my social media that often anymore. I've kind of just left it.
Wait, Ramón, are you telling me you're like me? You're like me. You got a healthy,
okay with it.
You got a healthy relationship with social media, huh?
I've gotten like, I think there's a point where I just was like, I can't do this full time and also maintain a career and a company and all these other things I'm doing. Like, it just, I want to connect with people, but I also think like the fact that I put up a post and I have like a modest following. I have like 20,000 people on my account. That's nothing compared to what friends have. But the fact that only you see your metrics on your Instagram, whatever it is, and it's like, oh, you know, 1,200 people saw your post or 3,000 people saw your post. I'm like, why is that I have 20,000 people following me, but only X amount are seeing the post? So it's just like almost like, because they want you to, they want you to boost the post. They want you to do this, pay for it to get it out to more people, you know, and obviously that's how they have to make their money. These are free platforms. I get it. They have to monetize things somehow. But that's kind of where I've just kind of gone like, I will do my best, but I'm not sticking to any kind of social media routine or whatever it is. You know, at the end of the day, I'll do my best, put the work out there, and let the work speak for itself. If people find it, people enjoy it, that'll grow my audience. Me hawking my wares like some flea market proprietor, it just becomes too much after a while. So
I didn't mind it so much when it was like a flea market, and I could literally talk to the person in front of me. But throwing it out into as you stated earlier, the void, it's
separate with that. Where I think the great thing, like your Patreon that you mentioned, is that at least the people that are going there are there to see you, and you have a direct connection to them, right? Like, I feel like if you're posting to an Instagram or a Twitter or one of these places, it's like you're just throwing sheets of paper into the wind, hoping something hits somebody and someone picks it up and reads it.
I just gotta say then, I don't post on my Patreon enough. either. But for everyone out there, you can go just become a member and see all the pre-show questionnaires that I make everyone, and I will always make everyone. One got away, but we gonna get you, Damien, with that pre-show questionnaire coming up. So you come on, you fill out, you can check out all that, which is, I guarantee we never get into every question I ask. It's a little pre-show interview before the show that I try to put out before the show if I keep all my plates spinning right, but that goes to the fact,
I got mine yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, dude. That was my fault.
Hey, look, it's not when it is helpful if I get them a little bit earlier because it does sometimes help in research. Now, sometimes it don't because sometimes, I'm too busy spinning this plate. Like, I guarantee, man, have there not been times where you got a script in and you're like, I have to spin this plate. I'll get to that in 2 days.
Oh, 100%. That's like my daily life. People see one facet of what I do, but I probably have like, what was that skit on, was it In Living Color? Like a guy got, 10 jobs or 10 teen jobs or whatever it was. So it's just like, it's especially as a freelancer, you got so many plates you're spinning, and anything you add on top of that is just another thing that takes up your time,
And I want to hear, Ramon, you ain't got kids, man. I don't like.
No, I got a studio full of like 25 of them, but I love them all.
Some of those guys.
I love them all.
So with that in mind, man, what plate that you have to keep spinning, like it's necessary? Do you think people would look at and go, really? Why do you need that?
Well, I mean, you could say that about my entire career if you wanted to. Like, I could just, like, you're as a freelancer, you're going off the beaten path, and you're not going to your 9 to 5 job.
No,
don't
take it like that. You followed your dream, and I love it. And phenomenal.
No regrets.
I mean to make that work, and to make that be to where that's what you're doing for a living, and a 9 to 5. See, that's how you edit yourself, man. Come on, I'm a professional, right? Unless you listen to my music, I don't edit that. But I mean, for you to do that, what plate is necessary for you to spin that people would find surprising?
I mean, surprising. If I were talking just about my career, then I mean, at the end of the day, I think as an artist or creator in general, you have to stay relevant. You have to stay in tune with the zeitgeist of current happenings, whether it's art styles or kinds of stories or that kind of thing. So I think being aware and connecting with not only your peers but your audience or your potential audience is a full-time part of the job, and that could be doing conventions. That could be answering, a plethora of emails or DMs or whatever it might be that come in asking for, whether it's signatures, requests, questions, whatever it might be. Is it completely necessary? Not really. Like my career started, I didn't do shows. I didn't do. There was no one could get a hold of me outside. Like I literally have letter mail from back in my early career where people would write me letters, but they would write them to the publisher, and then the publisher would then forward them on to me. Like, you know what I mean? So there was that bit of a disconnect. So if people really wanted to get a hold of you, they had to work that extra step but now I get requests all the time, like, oh, can you sign these 5 cards or the 3 comics if I mail them in or whatever it is? And you don't want to be just like, no, get out of here, because obviously that's it's just not nice. You're tarnishing your name. You want to put your best foot forward. So there's all these like kind of, I guess, social aspects now that are part of your career as a creator that didn't exist even like 10, 15 years ago, right? You can not say that they're necessary, but I think they are definitely part of the tapestry of your career that can help elevate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, no. What you're saying,
What
you're saying makes
necessary?
sense.
I have no idea.
I don't think it would surprise anybody at this point, Ramon, or at least anybody that wasn't 60. Let's be real honest, man. I'm just saying, right? Because that's just the way it is. But I do think it's interesting the point you just made. It did, with the introduction of social media, it obviously made it way easier to contact anybody. If y'all got something you want to talk to the questionnaire about, man, there's all kinds of links. You can message me, email me, whatever.
Yeah.
Bug me. I don't care, right?
Yeah.
Will I get back to you? Maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Find out. You just have to send a message. But you make a valid point, though, because it turned into like, when I went to a convention way back in the day, man, like,
yeah,
it was okay. Well, I've shown up here, like I'm here, and I've seen creators being appreciative, because that was the moment they interacted with the audience. It wasn't like I couldn't go and hit up Todd McFarlane and Stan Lee and Michael Turner and send them personal messages. Not that may my rest in peace. Those are just three names that popped in my head because they were all lovely.
You gotta be too bored.
Yeah, and well, Stan and Mike specifically, man, I had interactions with that were really cool, and they showed me that, oh well, this is a fan. I will take a moment. You know what I mean? But I was at a convention, which is obviously the appropriate place for that. Now it's on a permanent basis, which I never thought of that. Ramon, that you made my head hurt just to think about the fact, because it does make it to where anytime anybody has your information, they can get a hold of you right quick, man. It ain't no problem, right? Unless unless you get to the point where it's like you're Eminem or Ryan Reynolds or what's that? The singer who everybody's going to be so mad I can't remember her name right now.
Swift?
Taylor Swift. I just got the show canceled. I just got the. We're done.
That's Ashton's girlfriend.
We're done. I forgot Taylor Swift's name. It's all
over now. It's downhill from here.
Hey, them Swifties be serious, man. I don't know, but
they're hardcore.
But yeah, so that adds a whole other aspect, Ramon, I never thought about, and that's interesting. Do you think people at times? I mean, I know there are examples of this, but let's say specifically, have you ever had an example of this where people are kind of a little overboard with what I was trying to think of a nice way to put this, a little overboard with the response they expected being a fan? Because I know there have been instances where people are like, well, I'm your fan, so you owe me, you know what I mean? Because I helped make you,
Yeah.
And I know of instances like that have happened, and all kinds of different things that are,
I don't know if anybody's ever been disappointed in my responses. I know I've had emails where I've had like people go like, "Oh, I'm surprised you responded." So that tells me other people, don't respond when they reach out. I do feel guilty sometimes where I get like a 5-paragraph email and I respond with, "That's great, thank you," or whatever it is. Like it's like I don't have 5 paragraphs in me to respond with, but hopefully I do. I'm very appreciative of any kind of fan interaction, and especially the positive ones. The negative ones I can live without, but it can be overwhelming, especially now because you have, any social media now you has a DM option. Not option, it's there. You know what I mean? You can't turn off Messenger. You can't turn off Instagram DMs. They exist. You can put up an auto response if you want to go that way, but so that means every platform, every app, everything has a different way of getting in touch with you. So whether it's your phone, text, WhatsApp, Telegram, DM, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Kara, like every new, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is just insane, And it's funny because certain ones I don't check very often because I'm just like, I just can't be bothered. And I go in there, it's like, you have 25 unread messages. And I'm like, I'm just trying to turn around and leave because I'm not going to read those.
You're making my head hurt just going through all of this. Right? Like the more you're just listing more and more, and I'm just like, can you just stop? There's too many. It's like,
I know.
Every time then there's another one, and I'm like, Like
It's kind of
it's
like
like,
a button, just go boom, just delete it all.
Yeah.
I
I use Facebook, Instagram, Threads because they're all tied together. And when I send something on Facebook or Instagram, it sends it to all three.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Twitter, I've talked about Twitter. Twitter just
Oh, I've never that into it, but now these days I'm even less into it.
yeah. Like I think I have 1,100 followers on Twitter, and I used to get up to 500 views.
Mhm.
And now I post something or I share one of the questionnaires, and it's like 5 views.
Crickets, yeah, little tumbling.
Yeah, like it blows my mind how bad it is.
No, it's just like, yeah, eventually I just keep going. I'm like, it's just delete all of these. Just whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. There are people that I do talk to on Twitter. Like, I was lucky enough that I had quite a few conversations with John Gibbons on there when he was, and then I talk quite often with Jed McKay and Danny Earls.
Oh, nice,
So,
nice.
Yeah, they're both great guys. So
I've actually met a lot of great people through these platforms, and
Yeah.
also gotten work through them over the years, right? So they're not inherently bad. They've just gone down this path, which is just kind of, I think I could be speaking out of tune, but I'm at that point now where I'm kind of getting screen tired, and like, especially I work digitally now. I'm working on a computer. I'm answering emails on a computer. I'm looking at my phone, which is a computer, and I'm just like, then you go home at night and you watch TV on, essentially a giant computer. So it's kind of like, I'm like, I just got to step away from this. And, and one of the first things that I've stopped doing is just checking social media. Every so often I might post something on Instagram because that's my go-to, but like all the other ones, I'm just like, I at this point, I'm just kind of like, I'd rather just go out and have a drink with somebody and chat one-on-one.
Yeah, exactly.
All day. I've no interest in sitting in front of a computer. I'd rather read a book on paper or a magazine and, and enjoy that, and just kind of stop having lights beaming into my eyes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
And I've had, because I generally do all my writing in notepads, right?
Okay,
like,
nice.
I all my writing goes in these, right? And each section is one of my books, or it'll be like in continuous my books or whatever. But I just recently started doing it right on my phone.
Oh, interesting.
And going straight to scripting instead of, doing the story breakdown, and then I write each page and then I break it down.
Yeah.
This is how, and now I'm actually getting to the point where I'm actually scripting right on the spot.
Yeah.
Which it has changed things dramatically. But like you said, you're on a screen again, right?
Yeah.
And I've been doing it on my phone while I'm, I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to a podcast of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things. I'm like, I want to go back to, I should just go back to writing it in my books, because I have a hard copy of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are inherent benefits to work. Like I said, I work digitally. Like I love, I do both. I keep notepads. I write on the computer. I write on notepads. Most of my art is digital these days, but I am trying to make an effort to go back to doing traditional work again, just because there is a quality to that I miss, that I don't get from my digital work. I used to achieve like a nice Zen state while working on paper, which I do not achieve at all on the computer. It just seems like more like efficiency rather than Zen, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, it does. Like I don't do a whole lot of work, of artwork. I when I do, it's usually like I'm coming up with my story ideas. I'll put a show on or something that either I've watched before. I think I've been listening to the X-Files episodes.
Oh, nice.
So I put those in, and then I'll start drawing my own thing, and I do that to allow that relaxation. I have not gotten into digital artwork at all. So I've got a tablet. It's sitting right beside me.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to use it.
Yeah.
So
It's funny that you say that though, Ramon, 'cause I never thought about that. As far as one is more zen and one is efficiency. And
Well, I mean, for me, I'm just speaking from my experience. There could be people who find it super zen working on a screen. Like, I have no idea. Just for me, I think it was, I don't know what it was about working on paper. It was a tactile interface that you're kind of more concentrated. I feel with digital, because it's easier to make a mistake and fix it, I don't have to concentrate as much.
Yeah.
And I think that inherently that has made my digital work sloppier than my traditional work. And because I'm like, oh yeah, I can just do this. Oh yeah, whatever. I'll just clean that up really quick. Oh, undo, redo kind of thing. And it's like, it's just like this staccato rather than this kind of like nice kind of just flow, I guess. I don't know. But that's just for me though.
it's a manufacturing plant as opposed to a symphony.
Kind of, yeah. For me,
I don't know if that was an
yeah.
oversimplification, and I probably just made people mad, but I couldn't do that. But it's like he just called that a manufacturing. I'm like, and look, firstly, I'm not saying like I could go and get on that manufacturing line and make a dang thing. Like I'm like, look, if I wish Scott's seen my Spider-Man that I drew. Okay.
Yeah.
And y'all seen that reaction. That's all I'm gonna say. Right? Like I am no artiste with it. Well, not in the aspect of drawing pretty pictures anyways. I'd like to think I do pretty well with words. but yeah, so that's a whole other level, man. So I didn't mean it as far as a slice. So nobody take it like that, please, for anybody out there watching.
No.
I
There's
mean,
nothing wrong with efficiency in manufacturing. It's just sometimes I think you lose qualities when you move into that direction. That's all I'm saying.
I think the span of human history will tell you that if you look at it. You know? I mean, that's why it's like hand making a Ferrari or getting a Toyota, whatever the current car is that's made on a line, right? Like there's a beauty and attention to detail when your hands are running across the surface, you're playing with the tools, you're working with these things firsthand, and I feel like I love it. And like I said, I love the digital aspect of. I'm pointing here because my tablet's here, but like I love it. It's a great tool, but it definitely is made for efficiency, not for me to go in there and conduct a symphony with my brush or my whatever it might be, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, all I know is you over there playing with your tools. No wonder you wanted to live in some Euro comic from back in the day that you wouldn't even mention, which makes me really curious. What like you couldn't even mention it? What comic was this you felt like you couldn't even mention in the questionnaire?
Which comic? What was the question?
What comic world do you want to live in? There are a few Euro comics as a kid I managed to bag. Probably can't mention them here. Like how? I mean, if it's just a title, unless it's like an X, like what were these titles, dude? What are they like? The titles that Randall listed off in Clerks or something?
Because I think I filled out the questionnaire here in the books. I still have the books. They're at home on my bookshelf. No, it was just like I remember as a kid. I think I was like maybe 12 or 13, and I was in Europe. And there was like this bookstore with the bande dessinée on the shelf, and they were just the filthiest, dirtiest, smuttiest books you could pick up. And I was like, oh my god, I can. And I went up to the counter, and they sold them to me. And I was like, oh my god, these are. And I was just like, I'm taking these home. My parents, they think they're books, but oh my god. So. Yeah, I think one of the artists on them was Loisel, who a French artist. I believe he's now located in Quebec in Canada, but Loisel was, and just he did a beautiful painted work, but just he depicted beautiful kind of nymph-like women, and like so for my 12-year-old brain, it was like, yeah, this is what if I want to live in any comic, this is the comic. The mutant massacres. I want to be in this one over here.
Great choice. Great, great choice, Ramon. I want to point that out, man. Like, I think it's probably the best choice we've really had because, yeah, I've had people be like Marvel, and I'm like, you live in New York, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? what is
Galactus is coming to eat your place, or half the city gets destroyed.
Well, what if Juggernaut just runs through your apartment and collapses it? Like there are so many. Like if you lived in the Marvel universe in New York and it wasn't your object, like it wasn't an objective of yours to just get out of New York, I think you have a bit of a death wish.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah. I went the happier place.
Yeah. I feel like at this point in the Marvel universe, New York should just have superheroes in it, and all the normal people have left and been like, "No, y'all stay there. We're going here." Like they want to give the mutants their own island, give all the heroes their own island to deal with all this crap, so they can stop.
Go fight over there. Leave us alone.
Like if they would have done that pre-Civil War when Nitro blew up, there wouldn't have been that whole. You see, you had to fix so many things. You stick them in the corner, but then that's like what powerism? I guess you're sticking all the people with powers in a corner. Now you're racist towards people with superpowers as a whole, and I'm just like, I'm just trying not to get anybody killed. And then it's modern day 2024 PC, and you can't even try and save somebody's life. And what are you gonna do? My dog's upset about it. Scott,
he's agreeing. He's agreeing.
Yeah.
I said, Scott, ask a question.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Yeah.
My dog's
I'm
loud.
curious about publishing.
Yo.
So you said you guys are going to be pushing for publishing and going through Diamond. So I'm just kind of curious what process you guys are in at with that.
I mean, well, we've been producing books since 2017. Like, you think I'd be prepared to have stuff here? Oh, here we go. I can reach back here. So we've been producing everything from anthologies to different kinds of things. So like we started doing these in 2017. This was our first one. It was the roster. We had everybody from Francis Manipal, Marcus Toe in here, Scott Hepburn, myself. It was a great variety of just different short stories. That's just kind of letting loose and doing our own thing. And we made 3 up until 2019. And then over the pandemic, we started, doing more of these. We're actually about to launch a Kickstarter in 9 days for volumes 5 and 6.
And there's a link in the description to that Kickstarter for everyone out there watching.
Nice, thank you. And then, but we've also done webcomic collections, different things. So, so right now we've got I think we have about maybe 9 or 10 different books, and we have about 5 or 6 going to the press with the printer in the next 3 months. And we're planning for another 8 to 10 next year. So we're really focusing on original graphic novels, art books. We are dipping into maybe some standalone floppy kind of books as well. And we're also actually making a magazine. That's the other thing we're doing. We're making like a Wizard meets Rolling Stone kind of magazine about indie comics, and we're hoping to get it out into comic shops for free for people to pick up. So we've been talking with Diamond about that as well. Just trying to give all the kind of people on their own journeys a kind of an island to gather on and kind of give them focus. So because there's so much happening out there, and I feel like a lot of it online gets lost because there's just so much out there that, if we could just get a copy and people can like leaf through it at their leisure, throw it on the counter at the comic shop or maybe the local head shop, the record store, the used vinyl place, whatever it might be, the vintage shop, and see if we can also get new people interested in what we're doing on a creative level as independent creators. But yeah, so the journey to Diamond has been, we've been doing this now for 5 years as, direct to consumer through our website, through trade shows, all this stuff. So now we're like, okay, we've established we can do this. Now we're like, okay, let's take that, go into Diamond. We have a back catalog now of a series of books, and we have the books that are planned and forthcoming. So now we're like, okay, we're just kind of taking our time doing it. We're not like a Ghost Machine or whoever, a new imprint where you have the backing of investors or whatever, right? Where they're coming in strong and they're like, this is what we're doing. This is our lineup for the year. We're out there. We're all bootstrapping this ourselves here as creators, right? So we're just taking it one step at a time. We're doing, okay, we got this part right. We're going to move on to the next part. So our next goal is, okay, you know, we've reached the consumers. They know we exist. They know us at comic shows now. Let's take the next step and get into comic shops and other places where we can reach a variety of reader that maybe doesn't have the opportunity to go to a comic convention, or they can't make it, or they don't go onto Kickstarter. They don't, you know, that's not a platform they use or whatever it might be, right? So we're just really trying to make this, you know, one step at a time, trying to do it right, so we're not, you know, declaring bankruptcy in a year and a half or something, as I find most companies tend to do these days in comics. They come out big and strong, and then suddenly 2 years later you don't hear anything about them because they've gone too hard too fast, right? And I just don't want us to be that. I'd rather be around for the long haul. You know, one of my favorite publishers that I always thought put out great, unique, interesting things was Ad House. They did, I think, 100 books over 20 years, nothing crazy, but they published some great stuff from, you know, Stuart Immonen, and a variety of creators that just was like, yeah, this is the creator letting loose, doing what they want to do, and, you know, we're giving them a home to do that thing. So yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're not looking to be a Boom or a Marvel. I don't want to be managing a line of 50 books a month. I'd rather be like, we're going to do 8 to 10. We got a team here that can handle that. Let's do it right. Let's do it well and get these voices out there. And then suddenly they want to take these books and say, hey, we got a bigger distribution deal with like Penguin Random House. You know, power to you, man. Let's, you know, go do it and go do that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So everything as far as when you're dealing with creators, it's all creator owned there, right?
Yeah, it's all creator owned. It's profit sharing between us and the creator, just to make sure, obviously, we can cover our end of the cost. Yeah. They own everything.
Yeah. Well, to flip back though, as far as to the magazine, I'm curious with you guys planning that. Mm-hmm. I mean, are you just like essentially gonna just cover the independents, not worry about Marvel or DC because they clearly have enough publication? And are there even people below Marvel and DC that you'd be like, they don't need our time, and you would want to focus more on others?
Yeah, we're definitely Marvel. DC's out of the mix completely. We don't need to focus on them. I think our hope or our plan is to focus on the people kind of carving their own path. So, yeah, Image is independent. Like if someone has something through Image, we're not opposed to talking to them and, you know, spotlighting their work. There's nothing. I feel like that is just as difficult as doing your own thing, you know. But we also want to. Was that from over there?
That was my dog.
Oh, yeah. I was like, where did that noise come from?
Yeah. So someone's messing with the dog upstairs.
So we really want to cater to a wide breadth of people. We want to kind of involve webcomicers. We want to involve people, you know, put their own thing on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or one of these crowdfunding platforms, or maybe the individual putting out a zine, and then we'll put a link to their website or their Patreon or their Buy Me a Coffee, whatever it might be, right? We want to have a wide as the net as possible from that end up to the Image end, and so like, because it is all part of the same journey, you know what I mean? And
it is, yeah. The
more we can help each other out. I'm a firm believer in a rising tide raises all ships. So the more we, you know, our anthologies, the one thing I love about our anthologies that we do here is we have huge, you know, name contributors that are either have made a mark in the industry or are making a mark in the industry. But we also have people who, I'm not sounding mean by this, but they're nobodies. They're just starting out. No one knows who they are. And our latest 2 volumes, like we have Like I met Bart Sears, who I was a big fan of back in the day on Justice League Europe and Penthouse Comics. He's doing a short story for us in the new issue. And Jordan, I'm blanking on his last name right now. He has a great series called Mugshots out right now. He's an up and comer, getting a lot of face time on comics. He's doing a thing for us, but we also have some recent graduates from colleges, university, who are doing these amazing short stories as well. No one knows who they are, but it's great to throw them into the mix with Bart Series and have this great kind of diverse array of stories all between these two covers, and get people discovering these creators. And I feel like the magazine, I want that to do on a grander scope. This is the same idea, like spotlight the big guys, so maybe someone catches the name of the big name on the cover, but when they open it up, they're going to discover 3 small guys or 4 small guys, whatever it might be, right?
Hey, Ramon, pick a number between 1 and 15. I don't want to count it. 13? I mean, we'll see if it's unlucky for you. I always thought it was pretty lucky.
Some secretive going on over there.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. What are you up to?
Cats or something?
I know you don't know what I'm doing. Look, dude, I don't go by the unknown factor for no reason. Yeah. So I got a couple of these hanging around.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we looked through a lot of those.
Well, you picked a good one, man. That's I won't lie. That's like one of my personal favorite authors, man. I love Garth's work. Like I really do. I really did. You picked a good one. So that's that old school wizard right there. I'm assuming you guys like ain't gonna make anything that thick, because I would imagine making this and putting it out for free would bankrupt you. It would bankrupt you. That's what it would do.
No, we're looking at doing 60-page issues, which is hefty enough, and it's a lot to fill, a lot to cover. We're actually pulling in some great journalists from previous comic publications, but also people who are doing interesting or unique podcasts on indie comics or creators. There you go. And we're tapping the vein. We're talking to different people, going, hey, like, what do you want to see in here? What is your, do you want to bring a voice to this? So we're really kind of throwing a wide net and trying to bring a lot of interesting perspectives and voices into this mix. And and then we that magazine, we originally were going to do it about the size of that Wizard magazine that you're holding, but
that's 192 pages.
Oh, I know, those are massive. Yeah, I mean physically, like the dimensions.
Well, just to say though, if we're gonna be real honest about it, it's technically
like the price guide was in the back, right?
Well, yeah, it's more like 140.
Yeah,
right around. Well, no, geez, no, Pete, man, where's this price guy gonna start? All right, it's like 150 because this is the
that's
price.
A lot,
guy.
yeah.
This is the so to put this out would be ridiculous, man.
No, we've been talking with the printers and stuff like that, and we are, we're looking to do it like the size of a Rolling Stone, so a little bit bigger, a little bit more bombastic, a little bit more rock and roll, and have fun with it.
Okay.
And really treat the comics in a kind of a more flamboyant, more, just fun sense, right?
That's why I give the intros I do, Ramon.
But we are actually looking at developing a premium version that will be paid. So we are looking right now. We're talking to the printer about developing. So we got the magazine. Should be available for free, but if people subscribe, they get the magazine. But we're also going to be putting out. We're looking at putting in a broadsheet featuring indie comics, kind of like a Sunday Funnies section. And we're also looking at developing. This is one of my favorite parts. We're actually going to be recreating. Where is it here? We're gonna recreate this guy, the old Marvel universe, but we're actually gonna do it with indie comics. So we're gonna feature indie characters with write-ups, and this will be a slip-in comic that will go in with your purchase. So that way, so the paid version will get these extra things. So this will be a comic book and people can like find out about the character, the creator, where they can buy the comic. So it'll be kind of just a fun, nostalgia, but like something a little bit different, kind of thing.
Well,
Yeah.
because
Brilliant idea.
Yeah, you hit the nostalgia, but at the same time, it's in a way that's acknowledging the pub or the current events that are going on. No,
right.
that's perfect, man. Right? So let's see. Man, firstly, Scott, I've started to do this, and every once in a while we just go through an old casting call. But Ramon,
awesome.
but Ramon, you actually the first time I did this, I didn't notate which one was grabbed, but I do remember that it was the Wonder Woman casting call, which is exactly what this is. But real quick, since we were talking Kevin Smith earlier, did everybody realize where he got his name for his store?
Secret Stash.
Secret Stash.
I'm like, I really think Kevin Smith got his name for his store from Wizard Magazine.
Oh, maybe, yeah. When did he open that store? Was that the late 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I remember I stopped by there once.
Has it been 28 years? No?
Oh, yeah.
I think
because Mike Zapsik is running it now. Walt isn't running it, I don't think, anymore.
I think I swung by there I had a road trip to New York to have interviews with DC. And on the way back, I was like, I'm going to take I remember Kevin Smith had a store I just kind of randomly this is before Google Maps or anything, so I just randomly drove into Jersey and surprisingly stopped at a gas station, mentioned the store. The guy's like, oh yeah, that's like a few blocks that way, take a left over here. And I actually found it, and then I'm walking in and I'm like, oh shit, that's the cast of Clerks working here. Yeah. I was just like, what is going on here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
It was a great place to visit, man. It was really dope.
Dude, it's one. If there is a comic book store I really want to get to, it's that one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, being a huge Kevin Smith fan and a comic book nerd, obviously. But you douchebag, this thing's right here. I was doing something on that. I didn't need you to close my laptop, dude. I didn't need you to close.
There you can't be mad now.
I needed my laptop open.
She's like, show's over, buddy.
Scotty. That's at least he didn't attack me. Like Scott got my cat to bite my face on air once. Right. So I feel like we need to do something fun from this magazine though, and since we can't do the casting call, right? They were always known for quite a few things, right? Right. Oh, here's something. Hot 10 Comics. I'd love to see you guys do a magazine that had 10 most underrated comics. You know what I mean? I think things like that aren't done enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of thing the current comic market needs because, like you said, there's so much coming out. I mean, DC and Marvel's putting out a ton. Image is putting out a ton.
Oh, yeah.
So there's I think Dave told me it's there's oh God, he gave me a number one day. But I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books a month.
Oh, and most of them are Marvel and DC because they sell the best, and then they're followed by probably Boom and the other indie books, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much stuff, and I feel like unfortunately a lot of stuff doesn't get the attention it deserves. Like I remember when I was working on Nova for Marvel. We were getting a ton of fan mail for the series. People were loving it. They were having a lot of fun with it. And then we had a 12-issue arc planned, and they canceled us with issue 6, I think. Or maybe 5, I can't remember now. I think it was 6. And then, thank God, our editor argued to get us one more issue so we could at least close out the arc. We had to, pivot and rewrite the end of the issue, but we were at least able to kind of give the series a bit of closure, even though it was being canceled.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still have people coming up and they're like, "We love this series. It was great. We got a lot of great reviews, staff picks." But it's just Marvel was like, "No, numbers aren't big enough yet. It's not good enough. Whatever it is." I'm like, "Yeah." You imagine how many series, if I feel like they cancel things much quicker than they used to. They would let things kind of breathe a little bit and gain their footing, giving them a chance to actually get their audience.
Man,
You know what I mean?
I was thinking of like wrapping this up here in a minute, but you started you open a can of worms. You know? And if you gonna open a can of worms, can you give me some chocolate? I might dip one in and eat a little bit of one because I love me a can of worms, man. I love me a good can of worms. What can I say? But you bring up an interesting point, man. I'm like, Marvel cancels things really quickly, and it's because number ones have a higher sell rate. Now, number ones have a higher sell rate because they typically have a number of variant covers as well as it's the collector's market. So, do you think that the collector's market, in a way, has driven the canceling of series?
Oh, to a degree, yeah. It's you're artificially inflating numbers on series, right? Like, I have done. I can't remember. It was a Spider-Man issue I did, or a series I did, and the number one had so many I think it had over 100 variants. Like, it was just like, I still haven't seen all of them to this day.
I know exactly what book is that. Volume 4, I believe.
Might have been. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And,
number 1.
Yeah. And then I remember when I was working on Hawkeye with Jeff Lemire, and he had written out, I can't remember if it was an 11 or 12 issue arc.
I just read something by him.
Yeah, and halfway through the series, Marvel's like, all right, we're going to stop it and relaunch it at number 1. I'm like, what? Like, why? Like, it's just, we're literally continuing the same series, so it's the same story. It's not a new number 1. Like, it's not a starting point for a new readership. It's just they wanted to artificially inflate, or spotlight the series because they were doing all these other number 1s at the time. So they're like, oh yeah, if we restart it, it'll have better sales. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not real. It's not fake. And actually, you're giving people a dropping off point to the series as well. So you're going to lose readers for as many as you probably gain at the end of the day, right? And so I love doing variant covers for series, but I think it's diverting away from the true concern, which is we need to get more readers in reading, not more people buying more covers, because that's just like a short-term gain. It's not actually going to help you, sustain and grow the industry, right? You're tapping into a finite market. You might get younger readers to buy some variants and whatever it is, but like, dude, I got a stack of glow-in-the-dark Ghost Rider covers from the 90s that are worth $0, but it was the first glow-in-the-dark cover from Marvel, And
like the more kids you can get to read comics, the more you're influencing the kids to make comics.
And enjoy, or just read and enjoy comics. I remember for a brief stint, I worked in a comic shop to help a buddy out, and I remember this is like obviously back in the 90s, another collector boom era, and I remember this kid was picking up this comic, and I was like, I can't remember what it was at this point, but I was like, oh, that's a really good issue. I just read that. You're really going to enjoy it. The kid was maybe 9, maybe 8. And he's like, well, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to bag it and put it away. It's like, I'm like, well, it's just like all the people that worked hard on that whatever that was. It's like, no, it's there to be enjoyed. It's better. Roll it up, put it in your pocket, whatever it is. Get out there and.
I was just going to say, it's funny that you say that because I just asked Jay. I just grabbed this.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
And it's signed by Kevin Eastman.
Nice. Awesome.
And Ben. And I'm like, do I read it?
Would you? Hey, Ramon, you're close to him. So if you see him and he has that book with him, would you do me a favor and smack him with it and tell him to read it, right? And be aware, I have that book up here on my bookshelf, right? It's behind my Wolverines. So you can't see it. So I know what I'm asking you to smack him with, right? Just to be clear, right? Because you're right. the point is the story, and to enjoy the story that is put forth. That is the main point in these pieces of work. That's why there are hours and hours, and I guarantee probably way more hours than any of y'all think that go into creating these stories. It's for enjoyment, you know?
It's almost a disservice not reading them, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is.
Don't disservice The Last Ronin, man.
Yeah.
And I heard it's really awesome, too.
Oh.
So I haven't read it yet, but I've heard nothing but rave reviews about it. So
Yeah. I read the first issue, but I haven't read the whole thing. So.
Okay. Well, you got the collection there.
I couldn't. Wait. I just, I didn't realize, Ramon, how funny it was until I had a second thought about the thing I just threw in my hand. Oh, crap.
Uh-oh.
Right.
So,
see,
the book that you were talking about. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No, I just said, I grabbed this, man, and I said we were going to get into something about it, right? And I didn't realize there's something really funny that relates perfect to you right here, Ramon.
Oh, God.
And
I'm afraid.
It really, really relates to your work in an amazing, amazing way.
Oh, my God.
Right? With what you've done. So I'm curious, firstly, how many of them have you drawn?
What do we got going on here? Oh, is that Mr. Freeze? Last Team Standing. Green Goblin.
It's Spider-Man's
Rhino,
villains
Gorilla
versus
Grodd.
It's Spider-Man's villains versus
Vulture.
Flash's
I mean,
rogues.
I've drawn a handful of those. I've drawn the Vulture, definitely. Gorilla Grodd, yes. Rhino, no. I don't think I've drawn the Green Goblin, or have I? Maybe I have. I can't remember.
That's terrible.
You kind of forget what you've worked on sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny though, because that is, I mean, you've had a chance to draw a lot of Spider-Man's rogues and a lot of the Flash's rogues.
I've been pretty lucky. I worked on a lot of the name characters for Marvel, especially. Now DC's just been throwing a slew of variant covers at me, which has been a pure joy to do. Like, despite my misgivings about the ideas of variants, I mean, as a creator, they're kind of fun to do because you get to dip in, do your take, and then dip out, kind of thing, right?
Are you stepping in on Absolute Batman?
No.
Oh, you probably can't say, can you?
No, I'm not. No. I got a couple of covers lined up for Teen Titans and Wonder Woman. I can't remember. No, it's the regular series one. It's not the Absolute. Not opposed to them. I'm curious to see the designs of these characters. It's interesting. It's kind of it's obviously Marvel did this once before with the Ultimate Universe. It's kind of a weird. It's not quite the Ultimate Universe. It's kind of, I feel like, a weird mashup between the Ultimate Universe and like the new universe they did back in the 90s or something, because the characters are quite different in some regards. So from what I've seen, anyways, I've only seen Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. So I'm curious what they're going to pull off, but I'll probably just read about it. I don't collect really floppies anymore or ongoing series. I tend to just go in and buy trade paperbacks or collections or what do you call it, hardcovers.
That way you can read a full arc of something and get the story, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just the fact, like, I just noticed after a while, I kept buying the floppies, and they would just sit there, and then I would just buy the trade, and I would just read that, and I was like, why am I double spending? Like, this is no point. Like, obviously, the trades are the floppies, it's a good way to show support for a series.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the way I read these days, it's easier just to sit down with a trade, a collection, or a graphic novel and just enjoy it in one fell swoop, right?
I understand, Ramon, because look, when I initially started collecting, I was like, I'm just getting graphic novels, and I'd already started the show, and I got a couple graphic novels, and I had a couple creators on it, and I read one graphic novel, and then they're like, oh, well, we're dropping the sequel to that, and I'm like, you son of a so-and-so. I'll tell you, the specific moment that made me start a pull list was Tony Felice sent me a copy of Local Man #1, like 3 or 4 months before it was even supposed to be released. Right?
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
which great series for anyone out there if you want, like if you loved Image in the '90s and you're not reading Local Man, like you
All
should
right.
be, right? Because him and Tim Seeley are wrecking it. So I'm like, so it's gonna be 3 months till issue 1 even comes out, and then if I want to wait, I'm gonna have to wait until they drop 6 total issues, so that's 9 months, and then I'm gonna have to wait another like month and a half to 2 months for him to put. Dude, add it to my pull list, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, if I was reading regularly, that would be obviously the way to go. I come in late to a lot of these things. I'm like, oh, what came out? Oh, that looks cool. Yeah, I'll pick up the collection. Like I just, it's only recently that I've actually started going semi-regularly again to a comic shop because one opened up like 2 doors down from our studio.
Oh,
So I'm like,
nice.
oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I have no excuse now. Before it was like, oh, I got to walk like 20 minutes or half an hour to get to the comic shop or whatever it might be. Yeah, I'm looking forward to picking up some stuff here or there, and I'll pick up floppies at shows from people too, like if they have like a #1 or something showcasing their upcoming series or whatever it might be. But yeah, it's just a habit I haven't been in a lot of lately, and maybe it's one of those things worthwhile to check out again. We'll see.
See,
Nice.
I just think it's crazy that like people don't understand too that in this modern day and age, sure, if you don't have the money to support a creator you really enjoy, you should just go and share the crap out of his stuff too on social media.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
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 Prop their stuff up, share it. Even like, donate to a Patreon. Even like $5 can, $2 directly in their pocket instead of $5 for a comic that, they might get 5 cents on the, on or whatever it might be, right? So, yeah, totally.
That's what I find funny, man. I recently seen a post from someone that was talking about buy from creators because here's
Oh, yeah.
my royalty fee from, and I don't think it wasn't one of the big two. I don't remember who it was. I think it was like,
No, but any series is like that
Yeah.
because any
Yeah.
publisher is going to be doing, write-offs and whatever. So it's usually your royalties are after net. So like I remember, and royalties can also change. I used to get regular royalty checks for a lot of my Marvel work, and when Disney came in, to my knowledge, they adjusted the royalty spectrum, and now I barely see anything on a quarterly basis. So I'm like, all right, I guess that's a thing now. But I kind of take that ideology, what you were saying, when I go to a lot of live shows for musicians. So when I'm there at the live show, I'll pick up either a T-shirt, poster, or a vinyl copy or whatever of their latest album because I know that money there at the show is going directly to them, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Whereas a ticket sale might go partially to them, but it's also going
And-
to the venue and whatever it might be, right?
as an artist that is available on every platform music-wise that I can tell you, and knowing how many times just my personal music has been played and to know what I've been paid for it through Spotify and YouTube and yeah, you should really support your creators if you're. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like if you like a creator, go share their stuff. Let people know. Like I think
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here saying all this, like put book reviews on Amazon and all this. Give the questionnaire review on IMDb if you've enjoyed it, or even over there. But just simple things like that. I don't think
Oh,
people
yeah,
understand
spread the
how
word,
much the impact. And I say all this knowing I should go do like 1,000 book reviews on Amazon's for so many creators that I enjoy their work and have been on here, and I don't.
It's tough. It's a lot of work and it's a lot to ask for people, but the
Spinning
cool
plates,
thing is
man.
whether you're on Facebook or some other social media, like a quick reshare without even having to write it.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot now for friends. I'm just like, you know what? They're running a campaign. They're running something. Just a quick reshare. It gets cycled out there. It gets into the algorithm. It gets people seeing it. Even that little bit helps get eyes on it because you never know who's going to come across it, who's going to pick it up and enjoy it or whatever it might be, right? And you get 1,000 people giving someone $5. That's $5,000 that they didn't have before, right? And helps them create whether it's a podcast or an album or a comic book, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be a lot. The more people you get in there doing it, the better that creator can kind of survive.
Subscribe to the Patreon, folks. I promise you. There's all kinds of
link there.
There's a link in the description below for that too, as well as a heck of a comic shop, Mages Comics and Games, if you're into the Indianapolis area, and everything you can find out about Raven, man, as far as getting into Raid and all of that. I've been on your website and I'm kind of looking at those anthologies, and I'm like, man. This show is not supposed to cost me money to run, but I'm telling you, I can't tell you how much it has.
I'll send you some copies if you just share them on one of your episodes one of these days.
Well, hey, dude, they'll be at the start of an episode. That's what I do. That's why. And then they'll get thrown.
That's all we ask, man.
Yeah, and then they'll get taken and they'll get thrown with no regard because they are books to be enjoyed, y'all. Remember that. Regardless, Scott, of who they're signed by, you're supposed to enjoy the book. All right. I hope you all have enjoyed this quest, though, Raymond. It has been a privilege, and man, it's been a great conversation. I really want to talk to you after we wrap this about jumping on for another conversation we're going to be getting into here soon with a couple people saying we got too political. At least you're not on the PanCon we got coming up. That's the topic is are comic books political? Yeah, it's got Stephen Grant, Mark Verheiden, Jim Valentino, Aletha Martinez, and I always forget one name, and every time it's different.
Yeah.
You gotta write them on your fingers so when you're talking you kind of just like
we got that coming up, man. We've got all kinds of stuff in the past. Make sure you go check out all the links in the description. Now, though, I need to move this box a little. This box is in my way. I've been changing my setup back and forth a lot, and I don't know how noticeable it is because it's just a bunch of stuff. But if you really look at it,
I like that swamp thing. That's pretty dope.
The
swamp thing there. That's really nice.
My
swamp thing. It looks like
Ruth.
Swamp Thing, but I can't tell from
here. Yeah, it's Mike Ruth, man. He actually drew that
Mike, nice.
live on the show.
Oh, shit. Nice.
You know, so I got to see that get drawn, and then he sent it, and I was like, it goes there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. He's a good cat.
Yeah, and watching him do that. Yeah, you guys can go watch him do that on a past episode, but that'll be a while back. I'll be real honest. There's other episodes, Mike, as well as other artists have come on and drawn too, if you want to check that out. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, the point I'm getting to is, Ramon, we're definitely going to have to get you back on the show for conversation. Might have you come on and draw perhaps sometimes, right?
Draw. I gotta pay for my supper, as they say, right?
Yeah. You know, hey man, what are you gonna do? But for everyone out there, like I said, just do me a favor, click all the links in the description. There's plenty of dope stuff out there. And I want to let you know, if you've enjoyed this quest with Raymond, right, what I want you to do, right, is I want you to, dude, firstly, you said a drow. That's so funny. I'm playing a half drow. No, I'm playing a half drow in the D&D game we're currently playing on the show, which just started that not that long ago. Like, it's Hannibal's running it in this World of the Sundering, and yeah, I'm a half drow, but I'm from Indiana, and I got dropped into this world. And if y'all want some hilarious entertainment about a guy freaking out about why is everybody okay with the fact that there's a dragon here, okay? Why is everyone okay with this? None of you should be okay with this, all right? I'm sick of it. I want to go home. Plus, we got Alan Henry in there. That's legit. And he's legit on IMDb as an actor. So, he's bringing it in character.
Nice.
Plus, Shiro, who's doing the graphics over here, as well as Dave, my local comic book guy. Right? But, see, I digress, man. I had to bring that up because it amuses me you picked Drow. But, again, if you've enjoyed this quest for Raymond, what I want you to do is I want you to send him a dragon ridden by a really cool... Wait, are you single right now? Yeah.
Okay.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A dragon ridden by a really sexy female drow, right? To bring him, right, all the original Star Wars takes, the original ones that you can't get no more, right? And a big, big smorgasbord of seafood. To sit, have the dragon light up a fire, and outside, by Dragonfire, watch Star Wars Well,
Oh, yeah, the
eating some
originals. Oh.
seafood with this sexy drow, right? Right? Now that is if you enjoyed this quest, right? Now, if you haven't enjoyed this quest, ask again, why are you here? Sincerely. There are better things you could have done with your time than hate watch something for like a good hour and a half at least when I'm done with the edit. I'm not exactly sure. You know, these things go as they go, and that's what it is. But you've been here a while if you didn't like it. But if you're still here and you didn't, and for some reason Raymond's like got you like, dude, I swear what I want you to do, right, is find a way to get some zombies, right? Some real terrible, terrible ones that have been rotten for a while and are good and bloated, you know, like they're about to just pop and let out all kinds of good smells, right? You send them his way, right? Karaokeing all kinds of Taylor Swift songs. And then right when they get close to him, you start popping them just for the epic smell of fart and death, right? And that's what you do if you didn't enjoy this quest with Raymond Perez. Now, I hope you have, man. I really do. Besides that, I just want all y'all out there to do 3 things. 1, give it that thumbs up. 2, always get your comic on. 3, have a good night, y'all.
This has been the questionnaire.
Where's the link?
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
In the link below, yes?
I will drop it like it's hot.
That's another party.
It's cool, man. I love it.
The questionnaire. That is all.